Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdverse Odyssey, episode 22. I'm your host. Um, you know what? I got nothing. I'm Nico. How you doing? It's been a long time since I've talked to you guys. I'm here in sunny, overcast Korea, talking to my boy, the one, the only, the spectacle bedecked Goku himself, Mr. Rico. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? It's cool that we were able to connect.
Ah, you know,
Hey, for the folks who are listening, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties because Nico's out there busting it out in Busan with his boots. Now he's on the rooftop. I don't know what he's about to do. It gives me Ready Player One vibes, but we're gonna get it to work. Uh oh.
dude, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I see it.
The fighter jets
Yeah, I see
flying
it.
around. Yeah, the jets flying around are gonna make this audio warning beforehand. I don't know if it's gonna blow out people's speakers. Jesus Christ. Anyway, now that I can hear you, what's crack-a-lackin', homie?
Oh, I was just talking junk to you, saying that hey, you're out there in, or you were in Busan, busting it open with your boots on for Kim Jong. Now you're on the rooftop, like Ready Player One, listening to the planes go by really quick. So for those who watch the video, you're gonna see a little speck race across the sky, and it's gonna be amazing, amazing. So
All right. So, as per usual, how was your week, man?
oh well, oh crap, I don't even have my notes out because I had to close
On
everything
this
out.
special Father's Day edition.
This is a very special Father's Day. Um, right now, well, hey, it's gonna be a lot of technical difficulties, but for his Father's Day, what did I do? Spent time with my lovely wife. We went to a local town for a nice brunch. She treated me to at least one mimosa. It was very fantastic. It was raspberry.
Nice.
I felt very dainty. Food was great. I had if anybody's interested, it was like salmon with some type of mashed potatoes that they seasoned, and then they looked like they seared it a little bit. So the inside was soft, but the outside was just nicely little crusting, encasing everything. So it was great. And then we walked a little bit throughout because they have a little park and everything. There, saw some of the river, people kayaking, people fishing. Got me wanting to see if I can fit my big butt in a kayak since you can rent them. And then we walked to a local store that sells chocolates, chocolate cover cherries, almonds. Even got some espresso chocolate cover candy. So that store is actually called Nas Brothers. So if anybody's in the area, or look it up, Nas Bros. Very good. They have a lot of stuff, fudge, you name it. Then we came back and chilled. I think we watched some movies and stuff like that. And then, as far as today, another chill day. Wife, maybe a brunch. I'm like, yes, thank you, I appreciate it. And then she made me an awesome dinner with ribs, some we call Puerto Rican rice or arroz con gandules with some potato salad. And yeah, she's just been taking care of me this weekend, and I really, really, really appreciate that from her because she didn't have to do it, but she did.
Nice.
So, oh, the one thing I did was
sounds pretty fun.
yeah, the other thing I did was play pool with my eldest son. He wanted me to take him out, so we played a couple of games of pool I haven't played in years. But had fun, laughed, try to teach him some pointers. So hoping that we can kind of keep on doing that since he works a lot. So if we got time, at least do that on my days off. And that was my Father's Day weekend right there. How about you, Nico?
Sweet. So I've had a little bit of an adventure. Um, so, kind of the too long didn't read here. We originally were supposed to come to Korea on the 6th at 1 a.m. in the morning, but due to some time mishaps, we missed our flight because I'm not going to name names, but somebody may have got the date wrong. So $2,000 extra later, we made it into Korea the day after.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's been pretty good. The plane ride was was actually fairly smooth. Like, baby slept most of the time. The worst part was the sea in between Japan and Korea. The amount of turbulence we hit was fucking ridiculous. Like, we dropped like quite a bit of altitude the whole time. Like, there was one point where I thought we were landing midair, so that was fun.
Right.
But yeah, no, aside from that, it was pretty good. It's been 10 years since I've been here, so it doesn't seem like much have changed. Everybody says Portland is where the 90s went to die, or like the 90s are alive in Portland if you watch Portlandia. No, dude. Korea, the 90s never left. Like, the entire time here, it just feels like I'm back when I was a kid. Like, all the lights, the way the track, like, the biggest thing is, and we spoke about this before the podcast, but, like, back when we were kids, like, you would, like, the two people in the front seat, so mom and dad would be in the front seat, they'd have to be buckled up and everything, but the kids would just be running wild in the back. Like, nobody's wearing a seatbelt, you fit, like, half a family in there. Like, that's what it kind of feels like here. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been great. Been walking out been going out, walking around every night. Found like some really cool little shops. Did quite a bit of spending. Toys R Us still exists, and it's apparently here in Korea and Japan. Like, my son and I bought these. What were they called? It's from a company called Blocky. They make like these. It's almost like hyper articulate Lego figures, but they're Transformers based. Mm-hmm. So like you clip the armor onto the bodies and they look like little non-transforming Transformers, but they are absolutely awesome. So we bought like 8 of them, as one does. It's a cool little model kit. Highly recommend them. You can get them off their website, Blocky, Blokkee. If you just Google Blocky Transformers, it'll pop up on their site. I think a crate is like $60 and it comes with 9 figures. Totally worth it. Super fun. And start talking. I'm gonna mute.
No, you're good. I cannot hear you now.
All right. Yeah.
There you go.
Were you able to hear the jet flying past me?
No, you just went silent. It silenced your voice. Like, it sounded like you went mute.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's because I covered my headphones. Good to know that works, because the fucking mute button on here is like 50-50 if it wants to work. So aside from the plane ride, I actually was able to manage to watch a few movies. Who would have guessed when you go on vacation you can actually do things? First things first, I watched Blind Fury, which is a movie from, I want to say it's 1994, 1995, starring Rutger Hauer as he's a Vietnam vet who loses his. Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's a classic. It's the same dude who played Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
And Hitchhiker and Blade Runner.
Yes, from Blade Runner. So if anybody hasn't seen this movie, Rutger Hauer plays a Vietnam vet who loses his eyesight in Vietnam and gets left there for dead, pretty much. Some locals find him, get him back to health, and one of the dudes teaches him how to wield a sword while being blind. It's pretty much the American version of Zatoichi. Such a good movie. I highly recommend anybody who has a chance to see this movie, go watch it. It's so fucking good. It's called Blind Fury.
Like, a point of that one is...
The other one I watched was the...
Sorry about that. I was going to just say the point... Well, one is a classic movie, again, from at least my childhood in the 80s, but one thing I would say is they had a lady who played Eva Lynn. She was like the only lady I know who has eyes like that. She has the all-white eyes with just a small pupil. I thought those was contacts. Coming to find out, they're actually real. So between her...
Eyes. I knew she looked super familiar. I forgot she was Eva Lynn in the Masters of the Universe movie.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, I even think the main bad guy, I want to say he played on Texas Walker. What do you call it? Walker, Texas Ranger. I know for sure.
Texas Ranger?
Yeah. I know the big...
That sounds accurate.
I know the big strong guy. Oh man. Again, I don't know. Forgive me. I don't know names too much, but I know faces. But I believe he actually played in was it Nicolas Cage? It was an old Nicolas Cage movie. What was it called? Not Raising Amy. No, that is not Raising Amy. What's the one? There's a Nicolas Cage movie where he has a baby, I think, and this guy's on a motorcycle and he's chasing after him and somebody else. It's like a comedy, but on that part. But okay. I digress. Go ahead, Nico. What you have the movie?
I think I know the one you're talking about.
I think he used to be a football player too.
The other movie I watched was that dude. That sounds accurate because he's a big boy. The other movie I watched was the 2019 version of Hellboy. Have you seen that one?
That's the latest one with the dude from Stranger Things, right?
Yeah, I believe it's David Harbour. Yeah, so that movie apparently got a lot of flack, and I honestly I can't figure out why. It is so I've only read a little bit of Hellboy, but I started rereading it after watching the movie. That is just the comic book version of the movie. Like it is. It is such a good. I thought it was a really fun film, and I really liked how like Hellboy actually felt a lot like Hellboy. Like, no disrespect to Ron Perlman, like his Hellboy was great.
You better watch your mouth.
But Guillermo del Toro's version of Hellboy is a lot different quite different from the actual comic book itself. I feel that the 2019 version of Hellboy was a lot closer to the comics, and I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. Kind of sad it did as bad as it did because I'd love to see a sequel. I'd love to see where it goes because I thought everything about that movie was like really, really fun. And yeah, aside from that, started reading Hellboy again, which, by the way, if you haven't read Hellboy, fantastic, great comic. And I also bought a video game. Well, I bought a couple video games digitally, but I bought a physical video game in Korea because I found it on sale at Toys R Us for pretty much $17 American. It's River City Saga: The Three Kingdoms, which is River City Ransom, but set in the story of Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Uh-huh.
I already had it digitally, but I found a copy of it physically, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I have to have it. That's just awesome. So pick that up. That's pretty cool. And yeah, aside from that, just chilling and enjoying my vacation. About to fly out to Jeju Island tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Nothing like more flights.
That's for those folks listening. That's actually a real island. It's not an island that you may hear it on Pokemon, on Hunter x Hunter,
Yeah, exactly.
or any other anime series. That's the actual name.
No, Jeju is real. So as someone who's been to Jeju Island as well as Hawaii, I actually prefer Jeju Island over Hawaii. It's not as difficult to travel around there because I was over in Kauai for my mom's wedding. I found it kind of difficult to get around. Like everything's kind of spaced out really weird. But okay. Everything's spaced out a little weird, but like Jeju was really easy to navigate. Beaches are there's beaches everywhere. I will say this, I'm a little biased. I did get to go spearfishing and eat fresh sashimi right off the beach, so that could be why. But yeah, no, Jeju's pretty cool, so I can't wait to go tomorrow. Get to finally figure out what it's like to drive in Korea, so that'll be fun. Nice part is it's on an island, so it shouldn't be as bad as driving the main streets.
Yeah, I know when we talked earlier, that was the one thing that I remember from being stationed over there was just the fact that taxi drivers drive really fast, especially if you give them extra money. And then those who transport stuff on scooters, they would, impressive. They would stack stuff up. I know I said 7, but sometimes the boxes look like they're like 10 to 12 high and be weaving out of traffic. Just like the United States, if you ever have motorcycles go in and out of traffic, that's how they're driving with 10 to 12 boxes. Hauling ass just to deliver where it has to go. So that's great.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's pretty cool to see though. I will get that. Like those guys, props to them. They got some skills. I will say this. been eating fairly healthy since I've been here, so I feel like I've lost some weight. One thing I will say that's just kind of interesting is the McDonald's here has two things that we don't have back home. They have bulgogi burgers, which I haven't tried yet.
Right.
And they have shrimp burgers. So you know how we have the fish fillet back home?
Yeah.
This one is like, it's a fish fillet, but instead of fish, it's shrimp. Honestly, it's pretty damn good.
Nice.
And apparently that wasn't even the best one. That's like the cheap ass nasty version. There's one place around here that makes one that's like way better, super famous. I just haven't found it yet. But yeah, no, it's been great. I've been going on, like I said, I've been going out on little adventures with my son every night. So we like just go walking around the town. It's pretty fun. But yeah, that is my week.
Man.
And one of them. All right. I don't know if you have some news, but shit do I got news?
That junk is like. Again, for those who listen to the podcast later on, like the planes behind you in the background keep going. They're like very close to the roof. Like they look like you almost can touch them.
Oh yeah.
On that part.
So in all fairness, there is a air, like I think it's like an Air Force base or something, like right over there. So yeah, I know it's nutty. But yeah, dude, I got some news, and unless you got something to talk about right now.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I did write a bunch of notes. So when I send you this video, you may want to try to cut the screen because I don't have a fancy setup like Nico, Hunter, and Glenn. Okay, I'm just an average American.
Okay. So you can send me a video.
I'm gonna try to send you the video, yeah, if that's gonna be the audio. But is your take short or what? Because mine's like a lot because we kind of postpone this every time.
Yeah, I know, right? I got some time. Send the video in chat and I'll take a look at it. And then if you want to talk about something while I do that, feel free. Just let me know when you send it.
Hold on, what are we doing again?
I don't know. You just said something about sending a video.
No. What I was saying
What are you talking about?
I was saying that when you see the video, you're gonna see our recording here, Discord, and you're gonna see my notes on the left.
Oh.
So you may want to edit that out, or however we do it later on.
Oh, come on. Have you seen the show? We don't edit shit here.
All right, so in that case, nobody judged my handwriting. A lot of these notes were kind of real quick. Mostly because it's just I've been trying to catch up on a lot of shows. The first one, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to watch it as far as Glenn, Hunter, and you, would be The Acolyte. It's the latest thing that came out in the Star Wars universe. I think we talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
Episode 1 and 2. Unfortunately, it wasn't giving me the warm and fuzzies, and you know, my interest.
Everybody the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, like my interest into the lore and what I got involved is as far as the earlier series is Darth Bane. That's mostly the guy that, again, when I was able to buy books, I purchased that one and I liked that progression. And then also the ones that are called, well, it used to be called the expanding universe, but now they're called Legends. So anything past, I think they said anything past, the Return of the Sith. None of those books count at all, even though they keep pulling from those.
Oh no, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. What the heck am I talking about, man? No, kill me.
You Return of the Sith. Who's the fucking Star Wars nerd here?
You know what? Hold on. You know what the reason was? Is because there's a guy on the show. There's a guy on the show that he used to be a former Padawan. He's a master now, or he's a knight. And when he did an interview with him, and he talked about blowing up the Death Star, he kept saying Anakin. He's like, when Anakin blew up the Death Star, you know, he's not okay. He blew up all those people. Like he said it twice in different interviews. One girl, one of the women co-stars, even kind of like, you know how you say something and somebody may touch your arm or your leg and say, hey, just be quiet. She was like, hey, you should. She was like, you should shut up now. Like she. So so episode 3 came out, and we get more into the. I don't want to say more into the background of one of the main characters, Osha and the Jedi, in particular Master Soul. And what you come to find out is that Osha and her twin sister May, they never kept it a secret. That's the one thing I don't like about the movie, unless it's a red herring, unless there's somebody behind her. I mean, we already know there's supposed to be a Sith that's behind all this, but what you see is that they're on a planet. There is a sect of witches. Doesn't say if they're related to the Dathomir, like the ones that Darth Maul's mother was part of, whatever. Just that they practice in the Force. The Force is a thread that should be wielded by nobody, but the lady wields it. It should never be used for offense, but she's using it for offense to teach the two kids whatever. The one thing that's causing controversy is that you find out that Osha and May are not what they seem. Osha and May were supposedly created using, I guess, the dark side of the Force, because obviously they're not on the light side, to be created and carried by a woman. So similar to the birth of Anakin, who later becomes Darth Vader, but in that case, Anakin was supposed to be created by the Force. The Force created that child, or Anakin, as a way to dissuade and bring a balance what Darth Plagueis and later on, as far as Darth Sidious with Palpatine and what he was doing and stuff like that. So that's the controversy right there, is because you're messing with lore that's been there for a while. You're basically, how they're viewing it, you're retconning it to where it is. They further progress that the whole thing is that the Force is not a light and dark, and therefore as their power is the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. There's a lot of memes going on with the whole sequence, and again, if you haven't watched it, Nico, it is kind of hilarious. It is kind of cringy because they're doing a whole chant and everything, but what I feel like they didn't do, at least up to this point, what I feel they haven't done is convey what exactly is going on with the kids, other than the fact that you get a sense that Osha is more of the innocence, she wants to learn. May is the other side where she wants to harm and do good. So again, that duality that you have, that they keep pushing in the Star Wars universe. I mean, again, when they're doing their ascension ceremony, you have the duality of the two moons, just like with correct me if I'm wrong again, just like when Luke was staring off in the sun, there was like two stars or two moons when he's on Tatooine in the original New Hope movie. So they're going for that, but I just feel like it doesn't falter. It's just, here's a set, here's what they're talking about with the two twins. You don't know who they are. They repeat the same thing as Anakin's mother said, that he has no father, they have no father. And then the Jedi show up, and the Jedi, another controversy was that the Jedi are viewed as, essentially our dicks. They're invading into this area, and basically seems like they're trying to kidnap kids to teach them as Padawans. Now there is a discourse between the planet they are on. Is it underneath the Republic purview, where it's not? Which I don't mind that at all, because you did have, again, if you read some of the books, you did have Jedi that were just, it wasn't actually the Jedi Order, it was individual Jedis that were, again, they just weren't perfect, and they seemed to intercede their things. I think that was even the issue with Darth Revan, where he saw one view and everybody else saw the other, and he actually turned to the dark side at that point. So, but essentially, again, it's twins created by the Force, by these folks. There seems to be, the theories going on, it seems like they're trying to link it up to Darth Plagueis. Maybe they had to, run, they had a crawl/walk so Darth Plagueis can run with trying to create life in his mess. But again, in the series, you see Jedi coming in. They basically woo Osha to come with them to test by going, hey, look look at this. I know you saw it, and basically heals up a lightsaber. So I feel like it's like somebody said, it's like a cop going, hey, you want to be a cop? Hey, look at this gun. Hold my gun. You can hold it. Yeah, go ahead, twirl it around. So it seemed, I don't know, he was like, seemed like it was almost poaching in a way. And again, for me, I haven't read that in the books yet. But eventually, towards the end, you find out that May caused the fire. You don't know if she was just an angry little child, as her sister was about to go to become a Padawan with the Jedi and train. All the witches are killed, but you don't know who killed them at all. And basically, you have Master Soul telling Osha as he recovers them that, hey, everybody's dead, your sister is dead, and there's nobody alive, and that your sister killed everybody. Which is my only complaint with that one was where Master Soul is. It didn't seem like he wanted to rescue both of them. Maybe I could be wrong, but there's a point where there's a bridge that was... Think of the bridge in Captain America and Red Skull. They're both on one side, and they can't cross. And one part of the bridge goes down. And essentially, Master Soul, when he comes and sees them, he decides to reach out for Osha, but he doesn't grab... I guess he didn't have enough time to grab May, but I felt like if you're a master and you're a master and you have the power of the Force, how come you're going to save both of them? So, I don't know. Episode 3 gave some background, but it didn't. And I'm probably doing no justice to the series because I'm not probably describing it as great as anybody else, but it does give me the warmer fuzzies. It gives more answers, and again, like one video I seen that somebody said is like, it feels like they're really trying to retcon something in order to support Palpatine coming back at the end of the new movies. As far as that, which they believe is like it's piss poor.
Okay.
So that's my rant. That's my rant right now for Acolyte. Go ahead.
That's fair. I watched the Critical Drinkers review on it, and I am.
That guy?
He's like, it started out fairly interesting, and then he was like, yeah, and then it just shits the bed.
I didn't watch his.
It's an interesting concept. Okay. Yeah, you can watch his. He has a few choice words to say about the show. I did find it funny. There's a meme going around about how apparently to become a Jedi Knight you have to indulge yourself in chicken nuggets because there's one Jedi who's quite a rotund boy, which I thought was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's like I don't know. I'll probably catch it at some point, but it looks, honestly to me, it looks like kind of garbage. Like, the set designs look really well, it just sounds like the story is gonna be ass.
Well, and that's my thing is
I've been wrong before, so
yeah, I'm trying to catch all the episodes when they come out, and then I'm trying to go. What I'm trying to do is go back and watch it again and see what I can pick up, because initially with the first episode, I'll mention the guy's name. There's this guy that I just happened to drop by his videos, and he said the same thing I was thinking was like, you had Carrie Ann Moss, who played Trinity in The Matrix. You had her become a master, and without knowing,
they kill her off in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, they did a Steven Seagal executive decision, and the issue with that, and he made a great point, was if you're a Jedi Master, unless you explain that your level of power within the Force, your training went low, how is an assassin? And we're not talking on the level of Darth Maul or any of the ones that have killed Jedi Knights or Jedi Masters, but just a character that came to your table was like, I can't, fight me, I'm here to avenge you, whatever. And then the way she got killed, it wasn't even dramatic. It was just more of, I'm gonna fling this butter knife into your chest, and that's it. And then that's when the guy was like,
right? Like, what the fuck was that? I'm sorry. You're telling me that a Jedi can fucking chop lasers out of the air, but a butter knife is what's gonna stop him? If that's the case, shit, don't ever let any Jedi go to Denny's or Waffle House. They're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, no
Jedi can stand to the might of the dark side that is the Waffle House warrior. Motherfuckers be throwing chairs at Jedis be dying left and right.
No, but when he said it, it was like he's like, okay, so lightsabers you can walk away from and be fine, but a butter knife, yeah, that's gonna end you. And then his whole thing was like, you're a Jedi master, you're not denying it, you're not a master, but you let your friends get whooped, and then that's when you decide to intercede. You then decide to, hey, I'm gonna protect the bartender from getting, a knife going into his head, but you can't perceive the knife that's coming towards you right there. Like, it's almost like a lazy version of how Qui-Gon got killed by Darth Maul. And at least with Darth Maul, it was always
that sounds accurate.
And again, I want everybody to watch the show, but it's just there's little things that just certain things doesn't make sense. And even though the action was okay, as far as the I guess the Jedi martial arts or whatever was fine. I just, that part where I'm like, you're a master. We're not saying that this girl's a Sith. Yes, now we know she's created by the Force, but for all intents and purposes, unless they show how she was trained by this mysterious bad guy, like one person described that it looks like it has a Venom-inspired mask helmet on. It's like, what else has she learned? And if she learned something from this Sith, was this a master, or let alone was this plagiarism? But yeah, I'm gonna watch episode 4. I'm gonna try to give it good more notes, and then hopefully they'll explain it a little bit better. Then I decided to watch Madam Web. Have you watched that one?
Oh, you poor bastard! I did the same thing. Yeah. I say let's do this. Let's not talk too much about Madam Web, or let me rephrase that: the shit piece that is Madam Web.
All right. In that case, what I wrote down was pretty much the bottom line up front was should have been a TV series on WB, CW, ABC, TGI Friday, Sci-Fi, UPN, The One, Midnight Plus was a good streaming service right now. For those who don't know. And again, it got to the point where I was pausing, and my wife was laughing at me because I had to explain to her, like, this just doesn't make no sense. So, the actual story of the movie is basically Madam Web, who's called Cassandra at this time. She gets her powers via a spider bite her mom, who was pregnant in the Amazon, received before she died. Her powers are dormant until she has a near-death experience. Ezekiel, who is the bad guy, sets on a mission to kill 3 spider women that keeps killing him in a vision he has at nights. Cassandra unlocks her powers at the end despite losing her vision and her mobility. Ben is revealed to be Uncle Ben and is at Peter's birth. My takeaways. Tries to fuse and take elements of Doctor Strange when she has the out-of-body experience or where she's doing all the webs and everything. Blade, because a spider bit your mom and you're in the womb and you get the powers. And it felt like Nicolas Cage. Some of the special effects, the way she was looking at the future, it felt like Nicolas Cage next. If you ever watched that movie.
Yes.
Dude, I'll tell you, it was just, again, I had to pause it, and I'm like, dude, this just doesn't make no sense to me. So, for those who are not familiar with Madam Web, they changed it.
Sydney Sweeney in leather couldn't fix the movie.
Dude, not even that. Okay, because I ranted to Randy about this. This shit was just make no sense. Was you changed the origins of the hero and villain in the comic book? Ezekiel, yeah, that's really cool. Oh yeah, I see it now. It's gonna be fun when you guys go to sleep. If this is not your first night.
It's actually not too bad at nighttime. It's apparently just a daytime thing.
But Ezekiel receives power from a spider.
They're doing a fucking air show.
But Ezekiel, who's not a bad guy in the comic books, he's a mentor. He's a mentor to Peter Parker. He receives his powers from a spider totem. So similar to Spider-Man, Peter Parker's powers. But essentially, when he's presented, and that was the one thing I told my wife was like, I literally have I have the comic book where Ezekiel's on the cover with Peter Parker, and he's basically presenting Peter with the spider or the egg. What came first? Do you know that you got your powers from the radioactive spider, or did it come before then and this just got released in you, whatever? Again, Madame Web doesn't have no spider powers. Her powers is that she's a mutant and she can't move because of a disease. Now, for those who will say, well, there's two versions. Yes, there is two versions. You have the old version, who, again, is a mutant. She dies. Julia Carpenter, which goes to Sydney Sweeney, is the new Madam Web. And she has powers. To me, I guess it's like if you had, I don't want to say Professor X, but you know, the whole telepathy, and she can go through the web and everything else like that. But that's not what they do. Sydney Sweeney, her being in the movie, I told my wife was the most funniest thing because she seemed cringy. She's in her 20s playing a 14, because all these girls are supposed to be 14, I guess. In 10 years' time, that's when they kill Ezekiel. Yeah, she was cringy. Like it was like an adult. It was an adult trying to fit in their old high school cheerleading uniform or Catholic school uniform, and it didn't work out. Like between her and the two other girls, the dynamic, whoever wrote their lines, they suck. Because there's a part where I think it's Maddie Franklin. The character is Maddie Franklin, played by Celeste O'Connor. They give her attitude. The Spanish actor, the Isabel Mercedes, she's playing Anya, says something to her, and then she goes, "Well, nobody likes a bitch." And I'm like, you literally gave her attitude. Why all of a sudden are you mad at her when she bites back? I was like, whoever wrote that, nah. But I'll leave it at that. There's too many. Okay, my one thing I will add, and I'll leave Madam Web alone. This is where my job comes into play. There is a scene. There is a fireworks building. They respond to it. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I go is, why are the fire trucks in the EMS so damn close? Part of my job as far as training is with hazardous materials, hazardous waste. You have set parameters that you have to have a certain response for. Because one thing is to get everybody out, but make sure nobody gets killed. And when you have any type of material that can be explosive, can catch fire, ignitability, you don't want none of your rescue crews that close. Again, you can go research this on YouTube, how close some of the fire trucks get when they're trying to put out a fire with those explosives. I mean, they get as close as they can without hurting themselves. So in one character, which I felt they just threw the guy in there, Mike Epps, when he gets killed by a dump truck. And then I'm like, hold on, where the hell the dump truck coming from? The whole blocks, depending on what your material you have, the whole blocks would have been blocked off. There would have been no traffic coming in unless there's anybody to assist with the response. Again, you would have an incident commander, you would have your operations, you have your logistics, you have all the stuff there that would make sure that there will be no other bodies there and to get everybody out. Oh, crap. I'm trying to hold it down. So, my thing is, they had that scene, dude dies. They go back to that scene, and they go back into the same building because she has the vision of going into the building. First thing I thought of is, who lets an industrial firework warehouse that just had a fire, you don't have no fence to keep anybody out, you don't board it up, but you can walk in. That's not even the part that got me even more mad, was without her knowing anything about her mom but her books, she goes to Peru and finds where her mom was at, or close to it. She doesn't speak Spanish, she doesn't speak Portuguese, just in case. No other language. She just shows up in the jungle, and then the guy who told her mother when she needs the answers, she'll come back, finds her miraculously and say, "Hey, I'm Manuel." That's not his name, but I'm calling Manuel. "Hey, I'm here to give you your answers, whatever." And then after taking her to more of a secluded spot, goes, "Do you trust me?" She's like, "Well, I mean, I kind of have to because you got me here." I'm like, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? It doesn't make no sense how you know to go exactly where your mom. I don't care if you have a map. You don't have no struggles. You're not seen talking to anybody, anything else like that. It's just, I'm in New York City. Hey girls, I'll be back. Ben, watch him, and then comes back. And then the one joke that she makes at the end, when they go, "Yeah, he really likes being a uncle. It's all the fun without the responsibilities." And then she just gives a kind of like a smirk with her Macho Man freaking goggles, and now she's in a Professor X style chair. That's what he thinks, and that was the other thing. That was the part of it is you had the spider cured her of her muscular disease. That's why her mom left, only to blind her and make her sure that she's immobile at the end.
Yep.
Like I said, that movie.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube video I gotta look at where a guy's name is Screen Crush. I think the title is "Can Marvel Sue Sony for the movie?" Oh crap! Come on now.
That's funny.
Get out of here! What the heck? Give me a second. I'm sorry.
You good?
Nah, the Avast thing just popped up on my screen. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave Madam Web alone. If you want to watch it, go ahead. To keep it, you want to keep going?
I recommend you don't. Yeah, I got a few things that we can call it. All right, so big news. Anybody who's into video game preservation and getting ROMs and stuff. So Vim's Lair has been rated by Sega and Nintendo. So Vim's Lair has been they've been like the go-to spot for complete collections of ROM sets, mainly for like if you want to play them. This site has been around since like '95, I think, '96. It's like one of the oldest ROM sites. Because of TikTok and like idiots on there, they have Sony and Sega, which is a weird company to do this, has pretty much sent the ban hammer to them, and they had to remove like, I want to say it was like 75% of their the files on their server. It's a goddamn shame. Like, I'm glad I have all, like, there are still places where you can get these collections. It's just Vim's was one of the easiest. That was one of the best places to go to. So that is quite unfortunate. For some upcoming games, we got a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw, which was I believe it was Grasshopper Games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really quirky Japanese-style third-person hack and slash by what's his name? Suda51. It's highly recommended. It's coming out in September. Definitely worth a look.
It's the one with the cheerleader, right?
2 new games. Yeah, with the cheerleader and the chainsaw. Yeah, it's super fun. Came out originally on the PS3 and Xbox 360, and it looks like it's coming out on all systems. Shout out to The Dams, another one by Suda51 is getting re-released soon, so that'll be pretty cool when that comes out. For some retro beat-em-up action, we are getting Power Rangers Rita's Rewind and G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. Mm-hmm. Both of them are done in the style of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. The new one that came out not too long ago.
Right.
So they have like that really, that like 90s cartoon pixel art look to them. Both look really cool. I don't know when Wrath of Cobra comes out, but I know the Power Ranger one set to come out the end of this year. Mm-hmm. So I'm really looking forward to those two. And aside from that, I think we should probably call it now because the air show here is definitely making this a little difficult. And next week we're probably gonna have to find I'm gonna have to find a better location.
Okay. Well, at least I want to leave with.
I might go to a coffee shop or something.
Okay. The only thing I would say, I would just add real quick. The other stuff I can do next week is, if you don't know already, it's the time of the month for PlayStation, where they released a couple of new games for free. AEW Fight Forever, SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I believe it's FIFA Sports 24. But the one that I was excited about, and I actually introduced it to Sebastian, is Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage, it was
nice. That is such a good game.
It was a game similar to Final Fight. Final Fight was out of Capcom. Streets of Rage was, since you mentioned it, Sega. The only thing I would say was coincidence. You said those people got banned is on top of what's been released, and again, we really got to talk about the Summer Game Fest. A lot of games came out, were talked about. Xbox, Ubisoft Forward. But the one thing that I noticed, and I'll talk about it next week, is PlayStation now, Sony has done it to where there's a lot of PlayStation 2 games that they brought back now. So Jack and Daxter, June 18th.
Dude, that's like that's an hour-long conversation just from me whinging about how stupid fucking Sony is. Like, they have the fucking emulator in place. You're telling me I can't grab my fucking disc and put it in the system and get it to work? The PS3, for fuck's sakes, I can play PS1 game discs on. Like, how... I get that, yes, PS2 games are kind of a rarity nowadays. Rarity as in it was it's still considered the best-selling console in the world. You're telling me you still don't have the technology to pop a disc in your system and run it? Fuck off.
No, because what they did...
Since the PS3, like, Sony has really fucked everything up, in my opinion. Like...
But again, it's a money thing.
The only reason I have one is for prosperity's sake, because I spent so much money on digital.
Well, then don't log into PlayStation, because when you go to PlayStation 4 now, PlayStation 5, there's the PlayStation Store. When you go there now, what I've seen is from Jak and Daxter, Tomb Raider, Sly Cooper, all these games, Tekken 2? At least good 25 to 30 games, PlayStation 2 games, are now part of the PlayStation Premium. So you can pay $160, I believe, for 12 months and play them, or you can buy them individually, which I look right now with some of the games are between 10 to 20 bucks.
You buy them now?
Yeah, like I ain't gonna lie, I bought.
Because that was the problem I had, because I was like, oh no, I don't blame you. There's some of them I would totally rebuy Resident Evil 1. I fucking love Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
I will give Capcom money for Resident Evil 1 anytime it comes out. I refuse to give Sony $160 to play Resident Evil 1 because it's not one you can actually purchase unless they fix that.
Well, that's the thing. You can buy them. You can play them on premium for, quote unquote free, or you can buy them individually.
Yeah.
Again, that could be 10 to 20 bucks depending on the game. Siphon Filter, that was one of the games I played back in the days. They brought that back. Siphon Filter 2. I mean, they have a ton of games. So it doesn't surprise me that you mentioned that they banned that one, those folks from doing this stuff just for them to bring this out, because there's supposed to be more games coming.
No, but here's the thing. Sony hasn't said shit about it. Hold on. Sony hasn't said shit. Like, Sony didn't go after them. It was only Sega and Nintendo. So I honestly don't think Sony gives a shit. Like, because they're gonna trap you in anyway. Because here's the thing, all those are pretty much blocked behind a paywall.
Right.
The fuck?
I can hear it.
Okay. Well, that's new. Yeah, that's new. Haven't heard that before. But yeah, anyway, this is just gonna get into a 30-minute me bitching fest, so I say we just call it.
Yeah, we'll call it. Hopefully, Glenn and Hunter. Glenn is sick. He's gonna be hopefully be better.
Glenn survives his sickness, and Hunter, hopefully his family starts hating him at some point, so he can actually do the podcast.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about some other things that we weren't able to get to there, because trust, there's a lot of games that came out that I want to talk to you guys about and see what you guys are really thinking about.
Oh, I believe it. There are quite a few I want to talk about too. I just haven't bought them yet.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's a podcast. So
that's a podcast. All right, guys. You have yourself a great day.
Hey, drink water.
Oh! You know what we forgot?
What's up?
You know what we forgot?
What we forget?
Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Forgot the dad joke.
Oh my god.
I got one. You ready for it?
Go ahead.
You ready for it? All right. What does a robot do on a one-night stand?
What does a robot do on a one-night stand?
He nuts and bolts. Bam!
Oh my god. It must be like a...
That's a podcast.
Drink water, folks.